All right, it's Monday on Daily Delivery. Michael Rand here. Patrick Reusse back with me. Ready, Patrick, for another week. And you know what? You get credit. You were the one last week who alerted me to the possibility of this snow event that is now becoming a near certainty to arrive sometime tomorrow. But my goodness, Patrick, the only place worse than here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is probably here in a parking lot of a grocery store today, right? Because it's
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's going to be chaos today. I was telling the bride that we probably have to make a stop at the neighborhood store, but I think we should do it about 8 tonight instead of in the middle of the day. Especially people my age, the senior citizens will be in a complete panic.
yes,
We'll be lined up buying stuff like 7 loaves of bread and
right.
stuff like that. It'll be like the start of the pandemic with toilet
Toilet
paper.
paper.
Before,
Yeah.
yeah, you won't be able to get any toilet paper. But I think we can hold out till Friday if that's the way it is. But
Yeah.
it sure would be nice if this was the days when the meteorologists were occasionally wrong. Now
Yes.
I said my big problem with modern meteorology is they're too accurate because if they tell you it's going to snow at 10 a.m. on Thursday, going to. It's unlike the old days. It was Bud Kraling telling, "Yeah, well, I don't know, maybe there's going to
yeah.
possibly." But Bud looking at his Ouija board is a little different than these guys. But hey, it's going to screw up some things, all right. We got
Yeah.
the state girls hockey tournament and the Big Ten. The that's not gonna. We're not the Big Ten women's tournament
That's
isn't
a
here
week out, right? Yeah.
yet, but it's gonna mess up some events. That's for sure.
Yes, it is. Kind of wish it would have messed up the NBA All-Star game, but it
Oh
wasn't.
God,
That wasn't here, but that's out there. But they played in Utah on Sunday night. Now I don't want to spend much of any time on the
no.
game, a 184 to 175 final. I think Jason Tatum had 55 points. He was the MVP of the game. I saw at some point that like one of the sides was shooting like 90% from 2 point range because it's basically a layup and
Yeah,
dunk
yeah.
drill. But here's something that came from the weekend that I thought was interesting.
Well,
Um,
let me tell you this first
oh
about it.
yeah, you tell me.
I hadn't watched a minute of it in 5 years. I just don't do it because it's
Yeah,
stupid.
sure.
But it it has deteriorated in those 5 years because I watched 2 minutes yesterday, and it's now half speed. At
Yes.
least they made it look like they kind of moved around in 3/4 speed, but now they just go down the lane. They have somebody set a semi pick, and then they go down and shoot a layup, and the guy's doing the game says, "Oh, there's Tatum driving again." He's not driving; he's shooting a layup drill. It's absurd. The NFL gave up. They said that we're not gonna embarrass ourselves with half speed football games. And I have no trouble. I'm not going to watch flag football, but I have no trouble with them doing it. The NBA's got to do so. I mean, this watching 2 minutes says that this was a satirical version of what everybody says the NBA is, which is lack of effort. And I mean, so many people say that, and it's an absolute lie, but it's a cliche. A lack of effort and no defense is people say that about the NBA who don't like the NBA.
Right.
Well, this game reiterates something that is not true about the game. If anybody turns it on and watches it, they just deride the hell out of it, and it just continues that NBA bashing. It's stupid. Anyway,
Yes.
there was something you saw there that was interesting.
Well, it
Not
wasn't
not as the action, but as the comments, I guess.
Well, it was part of the whole weekend with Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards was first time All Star for the Timberwolves. He's an injury replacement late, but he deserved it this year. He's very good. I think he was the first reserve pick, by the way, on the when they picked the teams on the day of by LeBron James. So that was good for Ant. But he was interviewed a day or two before the game, and he had a quote, and he's talked about this in the past about why he thinks it's important to play every game. And he's played every game this season,
Yes.
and he's a rarity in the NBA this year. I think he's played all 60 games. He's played through some stuff. He had the hip injury that he played through. He's played through some stuff, and was talking about the big thing being because a fan might be there. They paid their money to see you. This might be the one time they're going to get a chance to see you. And if you decide to sit out because you're a little banged up or you're just resting, that's not fair to them. I guess my point was why is this such I like this approach more or less, but when did this become such a novel take in the NBA when playing all 82? And I know the Spurs kind of started it with the resting guys, but it
Yeah.
seems to me this is all kind of part of the same thing now where the money is so big and the players are worried about injury, worried about, like I said, load management, which again, the medical stuff tells us it's a good idea sometimes that these guys do take a rest and maybe there's too many games and they're not going to give up part of the schedule because that's part of the TV contract. But when did this become such a novel concept to play every game, whether it's basketball, baseball, whatever it is that these guys, a lot of players used to play all the games. Kevin Garnett played 81 or 82 games 7 times in his career. Like Jordan, Kobe, they all used to do it and now they don't.
Well, Cat missed one game the first 3 years.
Yes.
Look
Yes.
him up.
I know.
Wiggins never missed a game.
Yeah.
Wiggins went years without missing a game.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Steve Kerr has become a big aficionado of that. I say it's a horrible. Wouldn't it be great if Edwards kept that attitude? If he's able, he's only 21,
right?
And if this is absolutely the attitude that he has, and it's gonna. I mean, I gotta think it's coming from the heart right now. That
Yeah,
he's saying,
it is.
I don't know who else would have told him that, and more power to him that he can say this at a pre-All-Star press conference with all those guys who are taking games off around him, including LeBron.
Yes.
Now, LeBron, nobody can ever badmouth LeBron for not being the Iron Man of all time. But, I don't know, Mike. I think it. Yeah, I mean, Popovich doing it was a huge controversy.
Yes.
That is 10 years ago, right? 8
years
back
when they had,
8 years.
And those guys were veterans, right? I mean, it changes a little bit when guys get a little bit older, the bodies break down. It was Ginobili, Parker, Duncan. They're trying to keep them healthy for the playoffs, but that was pretty much when it started.
But it was a huge controversy, and now it has become just okay. That's the way. I mean, in 7 or 8 years, it has become. We look and say, I wonder, LeBron's coming to town for the only time this year. I wonder if he's going to play.
Yeah, it's like, they're on a back-to-back. I'm not sure if he's going to play. Like, remember when the Nuggets came here? The Nuggets rested. They didn't send 4 of their guys.
Not only that, they didn't put him on a plane. They flew in. They didn't fly here.
Right.
They didn't fly here to sit on the bench and cheer if you wanted to get an autograph. They should have a Jokic there to give you an autograph or some dang thing.
Send a hologram at least. Jeez.
It drives me crazy. It does. I mean, I can't stand it. I just I actually wrote something about this a couple of weeks ago about that. Here's the other thing: the NBA fans, media, and coaches don't care. They elected LaMelo Ball, the Rookie of the Year, over Ant. Their statistics were dang near identical, and Ant played all 72, and LaMelo Ball played 51.
Yeah.
And it was a blowout. The vote, it was like Ant only had 3 first place votes. The other guy had 19 or something. And then the idiot fans vote Zion Williamson as a starter. He never plays. Man. He does not play.
No.
He doesn't play. He's invisible. He makes Buxton look like an Iron Man. And they don't have any. And then the coaches, when they name the backups, they named up the backups. They don't have Edwards on that crew. Edwards doesn't get named on that team either. Damian Lillard, who's a great player, but he missed like 12 games and Ant played them all. Nobody, no, I don't. I hate to use the word love, but no appreciation is given to playing every day.
Right.
So to have a guy like Edwards, and the great thing is Fitch and Connolly. I don't know what Connolly's attitude is, but they are allowing him to play every game.
Yes.
That's I don't know how many players would play every game if the coaches allowed them to. But we have the modern coaches. I mean, you'll never see a Twin play them all again. Never a chance.
Take a playcation to Mystic Lake. With 24/7 gaming, the good times never have to end. And you can satisfy your cravings at our restaurants and bars. Or relax in one of our luxurious hotel rooms. Those that play together, stay together. And don't forget to join Club M so you can spark new memories and bask in the rewards along the way. Follow the lights to Mystic Lake, where every day is play day.
I was going to transition to the Twins next based on this conversation, but you already went there, and I knew you would.
Maybe Justin Morneau, it all changed for him when he got kicked in the head and missed a half a season. But I remember him 2-3 years in a row saying his goal was to play them all, and the Guardian make him take 2 days off during the season or something like that. But the goal was to play them all. And I don't know, maybe when Yadier Molina is done playing, and then he's done, right? I don't think he retired, didn't he? Yadier?
Yeah, I think so.
And here was a catcher who was 38 years old and played 140 games. Those guys nobody allow a catcher to do that anymore. So I don't know. It's just it's the whole part of major sports, except for the NFL because they have so few games and
right.
the game is so important. Majors and hockey too. I mean, hockey players don't take games off if they're not hurt, but the basketball and baseball, they have no consideration to the fans. They just, it's all about this is the this is what our training staff tells us. If we give a guy a game off a week or 2 games off a week,
right,
he'll be healthier. Well, how'd that work for the Twins last year?
Not great.
Not great. That. We had the load management going, and by August we had a whole lot of load management because nobody was playing. So how'd that work? How'd that work out for you?
They had a whole load of players on the injured list. What they had.
You know what? Here, I got to give Ant credit for saying exactly what I say.
Yeah.
He said, if I'm 70%, 75%, something like that. That's
80%. I think it said 80%. Yeah.
80%. I think he threw a 70 in there too.
Okay.
But if I'm 80%, I'm going to play. That's what I say. The standard should be, can you play?
Right.
Can you, in baseball, can you play today? Are you good enough to play? Yes, I can play. Okay. Because if you're sitting around waiting for some guy to tell you in a 162 game season that he doesn't have any aches and pains,
right?
That's not going to happen. So yeah, I mean, I think he made himself a hero. That's what he
did.
said.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, wow, a guy who wants to play every game. What a concept. And I think part of the standard too is, are you going to make it worse? Like, are you at risk of, further injuring yourself? But if it's a bruise or a soreness that's gonna go away, then you should be able to play. And different bodies are different, and I think as athletes get older, I think you give them a little bit more grace because hey, we've all gotten older. We know what it feels like to try to do the same things at 35 than 25 or older than that. But yeah, I think for right now, a lot of these guys in the prime of their careers in prime shape, like, play, go out and play. Now,
what happened to Cat, by the way?
I don't know.
Cat came in, he played every game.
Yes.
What now? Why did I can guarantee you, if this was the young Cat and the attitude he played with back then, he wouldn't miss 3 months with a calf strain.
Yeah.
But he's not going to play again this season. He's not going to play again this season.
I mean,
Got so many games left.
that was my thought a month ago. I don't know where we're going with that. That's an interesting one to me.
What happened to his attitude that playing isn't important? We got to worry. We got to worry about it being re-injured. Well, at some point, after 6 weeks or 2 months now, you this got to be as good as it's going to get.
Yeah.
You got to play. If it pops again, that's tough bananas, But he's not exactly chomping at the bit to get back out there, and that's I don't know what happened to him. How did that mentality change?
I don't know. I do think, the money in the game is so big now. I don't want to say like players get paid and then they don't feel like they have to do it anymore, but I do wonder how the money changes things. And I'm not saying athletes shouldn't get the money, because this is this is a huge, the owners are making tons of money. Everybody's making tons of money. The athletes should get their money too. But I do think that changes the equation when it comes to the athletes. I think it changes the equation when it comes to the people who are making the decisions for the athletes, whether they should play or not. The doctors being extra careful with them, because these are, assets now, not just players. These are guys that you're trying to protect for a long-term investment. I do think that has changed some things as well.
I don't buy the fact that the doctors are telling them they're telling them to be cautious. I don't buy the fact that Cat isn't playing now because the training staff is telling him and the medical staff is telling him not to play. He's telling him he doesn't feel like he 100% to play. Well, you're not going to be 100%, but this notion that at some point the trainers are saying, well, are you ready to go today? And if he keeps saying no, what are you going to do? So
yeah. Speaking of,
it's the modern, that's the trouble is we always call it the modern athlete. I think even more than the modern athlete, it's the modern mentality. We don't owe the fans anything. So anyway,
you mentioned the Twins. They play for the first time on Saturday, first spring training game. It's only been a few days since they've officially been on the field. I think position players are on the field officially right away here this week. But this is kind of Patrick is an interesting team to me. I don't know why they haven't, since they added Correa, they haven't done a whole lot else. But I feel my stance on them softening a little bit. Like I feel like they've got some potential here. And again, I think a lot of it goes back to what we were just talking about right now. If the injury, issues and mentality improves, and I don't know how much the mentality will improve because everybody's kind of the same there, but if that gets better, I find myself liking the pitching staff more than I thought I would. I find myself kind of looking at the defense and saying, man, they could be pretty good in a lot of key spots defensively. What's your overall thought about this team as we kind of head into spring? Because I feel like you were pretty high on them last year, and then, or I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, and then something flipped for them pretty early on. But where do you feel like they are right now?
I'm fairly. I mean, I don't want to say I've gotten over the Reusse trade, but
right.
I mean, but one reason being Lopez, this pitcher that they got, has had his own injury problems, and the idea that Reusse was injured and they were worried about him. That's what the defenders are saying. He's certainly not any more of an injury risk than the pitcher is, who's had, missed shoulder tendonitis, 2019, 2021. But I mean, he obviously if he can duplicate what he did last year, then it was a good trade. But and they got a lot of infielders. Health wise, yeah. I mean, but we're writing about Buxton. We were, oh man,
Buxton.
We have high expectations this year. We're talking about winning it all and blah blah. We're not satisfied to make the playoffs. Hey, I don't care about any of that with you. What you think of the team, Byron? Are you going to play 120 games?
Yeah.
Are you going to play 120 games and 90 of them in center field?
Right.
Because if you're a DH, if you play 100 games and 60 of them are DH, and you're the next coming of Sano, meaning you strike out half the time.
Right.
I don't care what you think. you're a deficit to this team. So, and they're concerned. All you got to know about how concerned they are about him and the bad knee is that they went out and got a defensive center
Yes.
fielder. They went out and got Michael A. Taylor, who can't hit, by the way. Used
No.
to be able to, but he can't anymore. But they wanted somebody who could catch the ball in center field when Buxton isn't playing center field. I
Right.
don't think Buxton will play more than 60 games in center field. So I
Wow.
don't care what he's saying.
Mm.
I don't, they're going to tell us he looks healthy, blah, blah,
Right.
blah. The Kirillov's a big question for me. I'd really
Yeah.
like. I think that kid can really hit, but to assume that he's healthy now is ridiculous. We'll have to just see what happens. It's a wrist, and he's got the greatest swing ever when he's got a healthy wrist. But I don't know. But I don't think the lineup's a terrible concern. And I gotta say, they got pitching options. They got
Yes.
they got 5 starters if they're healthy. A guy like Malley, I don't know, he's had that same injury a few times, but they got 5 veteran starters, and then they got 4 kids who got a chance. I like I like Bailey over. I think he's going to end up being a reliever if he doesn't make the rotation. I like him a lot, but he's been hurt too. I certainly like I think Louis Varland's got a good arm. I like his approach. He's not going to start the season here, but they got some pitchers, but I do not share the concerns of the bullpen. I like the bullpen.
Okay.
I like Duran. I like,
Oh, yeah.
I like Thielbar somehow has done this amazing transition. I don't like Emilio. I saw somebody listing the bullpen the other day, and thankfully they didn't mention Emilio Pagan. But
No.
they got the other lefty that I like, Moran, who if he starts throwing strikes are great. Alcala,
Alcala, yeah.
he's supposed to be back, but then again, he didn't pitch any innings last year, so how many? But I think here's the thing about the bullpen: if you got 4 or 5 guys you want, like
Yeah.
Griffin Jackson, these guys, you're fine, because the other 3, they're going to have 20 pitchers.
Yes. The shuttle.
Yeah, they're going to have the 3 of those guys. It's a 10-person pitching staff, and 3 of the guys are going to. Last year they had 38 pitchers, and they'll have, even if they're solid this year, they'll have 30. So I don't worry about the last 3 bullpen spots. I don't know. I think the one thing is you don't get to play in this division as often as you did
Correct.
at 20 fewer games within this very mediocre division. But I don't think there's any reason for great pessimism about them. I think it's one of those years where you just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But there's possibilities here, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. I feel like I'm more. I can see a more optimistic path than I think I could maybe at the end of last year. Maybe the Correa re-signing shapes some of that. Maybe just reevaluating where the pitching is and some of the moves they've made helps with that. And to your point about they don't get to beat up on the AL Central. I mean, that's true, but everybody else in the AL Central also has the same schedule. So the water line will be a little lower than it used to be. It's not going to be, it could be a mid to upper 80s wins the division this year with the amount of games they're going to have to play against everybody else. So yeah, they could be pretty good. I don't know. It's a hard team to figure out. I do think they had a pretty good off season on balance, even though you and I agree on the Arise trade, and that was not fun, and that leaves a hole in the lineup, and just in terms of somebody who can get a hit, somebody gives you an at bat, and it's they're gonna miss that in some of those 3-2 games that they might not realize right now.
Here's the other thing about baseball: you got the 6-7 teams that you start the year knowing they're going to be good, right?
Yeah,
you got 6 or 7 are going to be terrible. And everybody else, it's how's it going to go? Who's are you going to be healthy? Are guys going to have their best year or their worst year? Are they going to have, you can't say, boy, Jose Miranda was so good last year. Wait until he gets a little more experience. We might have seen the best year he's ever going to have.
Yeah.
You never know.
Remember
I mean,
Danny
look at
Valencia?
2009, Danny Valencia. Yeah, man, he could hit. Still could hit lefties if he was still there. But it's 2019. I know they had the live baseball, but they also had 6 guys have the best year they're ever going to have in their
Yeah,
lives. So,
right.
it depends. Is somebody going to have a great year, or are they going to have all have mediocre years? I mean, Kepler. We know one thing: Kepler will be better.
You
He
think?
can't be that horrible.
Yeah, he
I
can't
don't
be. I
know.
don't think he can be
He might.
worse.
He might be. He might improve to mediocrity, but
Yes.
but he can't be an absolute waste. And obviously, they can't. There's no market for him. I think they'd still like to trade him if he shows something. If somebody takes an interest in him in spring training, if he shows up and is hitting the ball, but because they got all these left-handed hitting outfielders,
Right.
but that of course depends on Kirilloff too. And it depends on
Yes.
Larnach. I mean, Larnach. People talk about Larnach's got unbelievable number of doubles. Yes, he's also got an unbelievable number of strikeouts.
Strikeouts. Yeah.
He's Sano-like in his strikeouts.
He's
So
Joey Gallo like.
yeah, that's right, Joey.
That's our new comparison point right now.
Apparently, Joey's a kind of a big personality. I don't know. He's apparently a lot. He quoted a lot and stuff. Not so far down there in spring training, but because they're just reporting today. But is big personality and stuff. And I think he'd be embarrassed to talk when he hits 160, but apparently striking out half the time doesn't bother him. So I don't that's one of those. They've done some signings since
Yes.
they've been here that have been very shocking. That's one to me. We got 8 left-handed hitting outfielders. Let's go get Joey.
Let's go get 9, baby. Can never have too many. Just like the Vikings drafting corners. Like one more, just one more. As Zimmer used to say.
They made the joke too easy too to say they had to make up for Sano's strikeouts.
Yeah.
They had to
Right.
get. Poor Miguel, he hadn't got a job yet. What's he gonna do? Why
I don't
doesn't
know.
somebody give poor Miguel a job? He must be holding out for a major league contract and nobody will give him one.
Yeah, I mean, well,
I thought he'd go to Japan or Korea or something.
Look at the evidence. I mean, he's I don't know. You would think somebody would probably take a chance on him eventually. He might have to see him. He's probably have to settle for something he doesn't want contract wise or something he feels like he's better than. But yeah, that's he hasn't really performed since 2019, right? He was okay in stretches of 21, but he's just fallen off the face of the earth. I don't know.
I used to get a lot of abuse in the press box, I think, during the 21 season from the no defenders because I just rip him constantly.
Yes.
And I don't hear from those guys anymore.
No.
I mean, it's the modern pitching, man. It's a tough thing. Hey, did you see my Johnny Castino column? I think Johnny's got it figured out.
Yeah.
2-2's a full count. It's going to make him throw fastballs instead of sliders all the time. 2-2's a full count. That solves everything. We don't have to do all this other stuff, right?
I like it. Let's do it.
If you walk on ball 3, then you got to challenge me. You're going to see more walks, okay, but you're going to have to, the pitchers are. You don't have to move the mound back 2 feet. You don't have to do all these other things. If you do this, if you take that advantage away from the pitchers, it's not going to happen. But I thought it was pretty novel. He sent me this long email and with that stuff, and then I talked to him, and he says he's tired of having people tell him that they don't watch the game anymore. So
I like it.
It's moving too slow. We got to do something, but. Yeah, well, instead we're going to have 8 new rules this year.
The shift rules, the pitch clock. Yeah,
somebody who tells me that they read something. The teams are now planning to have the left fielder play short right field.
They can, yeah.
I mean, play with a 2-man outfield. So my theory on this is they're trying to improve the game.
Yes,
you have all the commissioner and all his brainiacs and all his consultants saying let's try this, get rid of the shift.
Yeah.
And you have the 24 graduates of Eastern liberal colleges who went to Trinity and never played 4 baseball games in their life, trying to do everything they can to keep the product as bad as they possibly can make it, as slow moving,
Yes.
as uneventful, as missing in action as they possibly can. So they are dedicated to ruining. Well, they've already done it. They are dedicated to continue to ruin the game.
In their ongoing search for a more efficient way to score runs, they have made the game completely inefficient.
Yes, that's right. And
long. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Patrick, a couple more things before we go. One, so I can't remember if this was yesterday or Saturday, whichever day the Gophers men's basketball team played. They were at home against Penn State. And I was
Saturday.
It was Saturday. I was following along on social media and I was like, oh, wow, they're someone, I think it was Gopher Holt tweeted, they're up 52-50. I'd been seeing along the way that they'd been playing okay. So I was like, all right, I better throw this on. And within like 3 minutes, they were down by like 9. They were given an 11-0 run. And that was kind of they got back into it a little bit. And Farrell Payne was playing really well in that game, but they still lost down the stretch. Was they 1-13?
1-13
in the Big Ten now.
And they actually had a decent crowd. They gave the students jerseys or something.
Okay.
And they had a full student section. And it was Corey Provis was doing a game, and they were making a big deal about the barnyard. So they did get 1,000 students in there or something, or 800 or so, and it sounded fairly loud, but man alive, they can hit those 6-7 minute droughts better than any in the history. They go along and boom, nobody can score. The Jamison battle has really fallen off from what he was last year. I don't know if it's his teammates or what, but he is not the same player he was last year. And Garcia came back. He put up the points again. These 2 freshman big men, Payne and Joseph, are interesting. But it seems like one of them plays really well one game and the other plays really, I like Payne a lot, but Joseph was kind of playing ahead of him until a couple of games ago.
Right.
So, I don't know. Nice to see. It would be nice to see this Carrington kid play a lot.
They need some guard play. Yeah.
Down the stretch here to see if he's going to be a player or not. He was hurt and missed a bunch of games. And I don't know about Henley and some of these other guys, but we keep making a big deal about him being dedicated to the freshmen. Well, he's got 4 freshmen. Well, he should be, shouldn't he? I mean, it's not like you're sacrificing a chance to win by playing your freshman.
No,
because you're not playing the 5th-year guy from Dartmouth more often. For God's, let's drop that angle.
Yes.
Plus, we're young. Okay, we've also now played 20-some games. All of these guys, except for Carrington, who missed some games. It's They got the problem that they're, as we said a couple of weeks ago, Mike, they're inefficient in every area.
Yes.
They can't shoot.
No.
They can't shoot as number one.
That's a problem.
They don't rebound real well.
No.
They play a little bit of defense, but not much. And they turn it over an ungodly number of times.
Yeah.
So outside of that, they got her going. I mean,
other than that, they
got a. I don't know if they're going to maybe won't make up that Michigan State game. I don't know. Ben's going to handle that one, but they got a chance to finish with 1. I mean, schedule gets a little harder now. They're in Illinois tonight, and
because they got to make that one. That was the COVID makeup game, right?
Yeah, right, yeah. So I don't know. It's brutal. I just don't know. I mean, here's my concern is that a couple of these the kid who left for Indiana, Scalia, and the girl,
in the women's side,
women's side, she just won the Big Ten title.
Yeah,
and my concern with both programs, Gopher men and women, is some of these freshmen say, I'm going to go somewhere and I might be able to win a game.
What's keeping you here at this point?
Steve Kalsher down at Iowa State. remodeling his career
Yep.
after social media and his family chased him out of town. But that's the thing I'd be concerned about is some of the, you're playing. Well, one of the Gopher women's freshmen got hurt, but you're playing a bunch of freshmen, and what if a couple of those freshmen say, "Yeah, I don't want to stick around here and get beat all the time?" So that's a bad situation right now for basketball. Both sides. Somehow the Gophers women's team scored 90-some points, beat Nebraska, 52 fouls, 66 free throws in the game. But and then they go down and get beat by the worst team in the league, Northwestern, the other day. So it's bad. It's bad in both areas. Obviously, there's more fandom for the men's team, and we dwell on that more. But Whalen's 5 years here now.
Yeah.
I think she gets one more, but I wouldn't bet on that. I mean, I wouldn't. I only probably give you 2-1 odds that she's back next year. I think she'll be back, but I don't think it's 100%.
No, and I think it's
not as bad as it is.
I think it's wearing on her. I think it's wearing on the administration. And I think you're right too. It's like I think with the portal these days, with some of the advantages some of the good teams have right now, it's easier than ever to stay bad. It's hard to get good when you're bad because if you don't have that kind of that 1 year where you catch lightning in a bottle and all of a sudden it turns around quick. The gradual turnaround is we don't have time for gradual turnarounds anymore.
Yeah, and if Scalia had stayed with a little leadership for the freshmen and their best shooter, they probably would have won 3 more games. In the Big Ten.
They've been better.
They would have been better. So what I'm saying is, when you're bad and you're down there fighting for last place, anything that'll give you a couple of more wins you like. And,
yes.
It's a terrible situation.
It is indeed.
One more thing I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Our Wolfies, man, that was a bad loss right before.
Terrible loss to Wizards,
And look at the schedule. Woo.
Oh yeah.
4-game West Coast road trip. The schedule that remains for them is I don't. They're no cinch to be even in the play-in tournaments. I don't think that's
looked at it.
Schedule. We were talking about it early in the year. They had the easy part of their schedule early in the year when they were messed up and screwing around and not getting out of it what they could. Now they're paying for that. But the schedule is really tough for the rest of the season, and and they're gonna do it without Iron Man Cat apparently. So
well, I think their first game out of the break is a home game against Charlotte, which they'd better win. But I think the last 13 of the last 20 are road games, so that's tough too.
The good thing is one more thing.
Yeah,
the Gopher men's hockey team is going to win the national championship.
Wow!
So we can all be confident of that.
Wow!
That's Snuggerud, Cooley.
That's a good line. That's a nice line.
I mean, they're fantastic. God, he's got talent. He has got talent. It's hockey, and once in a while, things are random. But I don't see how they're going to get beat. I mean, obviously, it's hockey, as I said.
It's one and done. Yeah.
Goalie can have a bad night and blah blah blah. But man, are they good? Oof.
Yeah, they are good, and they clinched the Big Ten.
Yep. Yeah. It's weird that. How long have we played the Big Ten now? 8 years? Is this 8 years?
I feel like it's 8 or 9 now.
I think they've won. I think this is their 6th Big Ten title.
They've been good. They've been. I mean, they had some lulls, but they've been pretty good in the Big Ten. And and we didn't even mention the Wild scored 4 goals yesterday. So that's like a week. Right. That's like a week's worth for them.
They blew another lead, and then Hartman scored with the thing over. So they did get 2 wins in a row here in this 6-game homestand. They got 1 left, or they got 2 left, right? No, 1 left.
I think 1 left,
Tuesday night, and then they go out on the road for a while. But because we have state tournaments coming up at the X. And good luck, ladies, getting your games in on Wednesday and Thursday as the blizzard of the century approaches the Twin Cities. Boy, would I like them to be wrong. But
I hope they're wrong. Let's let him be wrong this time.
I already hired the neighbor girl to shovel my walk. I said, I'm not in any shape to be out shoveling 8 inches 3 different times in 2 days.
No.
I'll shovel the 3 incher on my small sidewalk, but this'll my neighbor girl Daphne will do it for me. $20 a pop. That's pretty good. It's a little walk. Takes her 8 minutes. 8 minutes. What's that an hour? $20. $10. That's $120 an hour.
Pretty good. Good for you. Good for her. Everybody's happy.
Yes, it is.
All right, Patrick. Appreciate it. Stay dry. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay.